Welcome to the Conscious Publicist Podcast, a space where thoughts become ideas to advocate for a more conscious human experience in the media. Our thoughts and ideas inspire action, and the most notable leaders and organizations have transformed thoughts and ideas into global initiatives that have impacted the lives of millions. My name is Ashley Graham, and as a woman-owned business founder and publicist, I guide leaders, visionaries, and creators in discovering their conscious media voice and methodologies that inspire connection, community, and impact through aligned media channels. In this podcast, we'll dive into public relations, thought leadership, business, and entrepreneurship, all through the lens of being a conscious human being. I'll take you behind the scenes into the habits, thoughts, and modalities that have helped leaders shift past paradigms of limiting beliefs, comparison, and self-doubt to show up for themselves to become the subject matter experts they were called to be. Subscribe to the show on Apple or Spotify and join us on this journey of awakening the conscious, enlightened leader within you. What if the most powerful thing you can do for your child is actually take time for yourself? That's exactly what we're unpacking today. I am joined by Danielle Yanke from Clearlight Saunas for a conversation that got deeply personal in the best way possible. We start off by talking about mom guilt and why giving yourself permission to escape without the weight of that guilt is one of the most radical acts of self-love you can practice. I also personally get real about postpartum depression and anxiety, as well as the identity shift that comes with becoming a mother and how self-care rituals can truly bridge you back to yourself. We also explore the world of wellness, from infrared saunas and red light therapy to PEMF mats, and what these tools actually do for your body, your mind, and your sleep. The best part? You can bring all of this into your home on your schedule, baby and all. This one is for every mother, every woman, and honestly, every human who is trying to find their way back to themselves. Let's get into it. We have such an amazing guest here on the podcast today. I'm going to introduce Danielle. She works with Clearlight Saunas, which is an amazing brand in the wellness space that is innovating incredible tech for us to stay grounded and connected and really focus on self-care, which is one of my favorite things, and even more so my favorite things now as a new mother. So Danielle, welcome to the Conscious Publicist Podcast. Our $1 million question for you today to get us started is, what story and message are you looking to tell through your brilliance and your wisdom today?
Hi, Ashley. Great to talk to you. And fabulous question. My answer would have to be that rediscovering yourself and the new version of you as a mother doesn't make you a bad person, and that finding that escape doesn't have to be charged with guilt.
I love that. I mean, mom guilt is something that I don't think is talked about as much as it really should be, because you can think that when you're entering motherhood, you're going to be like, well, I'm going to have this perfect routine. I'm going to have this perfect balance in between getting a schedule down with the newborn and carving out time for my own self-care and going and doing the things that I want for myself. But when you leave that house, you're like, but what if my baby needs me? What if my child needs me? Am I selfish for taking this time for myself? It's just a natural part of the evolution, I feel, becoming a mother, and especially that deep identity work that comes with it. So tell us a little bit about how you would advocate for moms to really focus on that self-care and to do whatever they can in their power to silence that guilt voice that likes to creep up when we are taking time for ourselves.
I'm trying to preach to the choir here because I know all the right things to say, and we all think we understand that taking time as a mom makes you a better mom, and that's the way to quench the guilt. But it's easier said than done. You can't out logic what your heart feels, and that not separation anxiety necessarily, but maybe a dose of that from your child when you're like, I just need a minute to, in my case, lay in my sauna or just close the door and play some video games to myself. Rediscovering what those hobbies were or the new versions of them are, that's a hard cognitive dissonance to wrap your mind around, especially when your hormones are going crazy in the newborn stage, or even still for me today, where my child's almost 5 years old. And I get to have these conversations with her. And thank goodness, the second you can start to actually talk to them and they talk back to you, I love that milestone. But it's still hard to say, mommy needs a few minutes. And I don't want to say, you're getting on my nerves, or I'm just feeling overtouched, overstimulated, without saying, you're doing something wrong, child. Obviously, she's not. So it's a hard thing to say and practice. But that's why I think it becomes a practice to find your own routine to then become the best version of what your motherhood journey looks like.
Yeah, and I think something that I would add to that is giving yourself as much grace as you possibly can, that sometimes you aren't always going to say the right thing in that moment, especially if you're overstimulated, or maybe you're not going to respond in the most perfect way that you have practiced over and over and over again in your mind. And I think, again, going back to that mom guilt, giving ourselves grace to know that we are still human beings. We're not perfect. We're imperfectly perfect. And that's a part of the process, right? You learn, and you learn through contrast, and you learn, okay, this is how I maybe should take a couple of deep breaths before I respond, or maybe when my feet hit the ground in the morning, instead of immediately jumping into the day-to-day routine or then having to jump for the baby, take a couple deep breaths, because then you move and you flow in a different way than just jumping to respond.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the intention setting of each day as well as your motherhood persona as a whole. But it's in those small choices and small decisions that you make for yourself to make for a better experience that your child gets to enjoy as well, because you get to be fun mommy when you've had a good night's sleep, or when you've had a 30-minute session your sauna, or you've gotten a dose of red light the night before and you're like, I'm feeling good, I'm looking good, I can take on the world, and I'll be super mommy today. And I think that's why I really love the impact of the health and wellness products that we offer at Clearlight, specifically for the subset of humanity that I've now fallen into as a new mom. Because I think that's doing a good in the world when you're allowing and giving grace and permission to, even if you have a hard time doing that for yourself, if you can think of anyone else that you would share that empathy with and give that advice to your other mom friends, or someone that you see passing by and you're saying, oh, you're clearly having a hard time, go relax. It's hard to do that same kind of love and empathy towards yourself. And I think having the product in front of you reminds you to do that.
It really does. And I'll chime in on something there, that before innovative tech in the wellness space, we used to have to take ourselves out of our homes, out of our daily lives, out of our daily routines in order to go and get the benefits of some of these things. And this is why I love brands like Clearlight, is because you are able to bring those tools into your home and fit it into what is already working in your day to day. And I feel that being a new mother, it allows you this beautiful opportunity to still stay present in your home with your children in a way that you're not completely taking yourself away, but you are just creating a little bit of space to be like, okay, I'm going to go into the bedroom, or I'm going to go into my office, and I'm going to lay out my PEMF mat, and I'm going to lay on that for 60 minutes and feel rejuvenated. The door is going to be shut. This is my space. This is my space. And then you come out, go about your day back into your home, and you're just recharged and you're revitalized, and you can go about your day routine as normal, but it does shift things.
It does. And that speaks to me too, because I had my pregnancy and newborn life during COVID, or like the tail end of it. So it was still very much that work from home life. Even returning back to a work from home after maternity is an odd hybrid that I think will be studied in the annals of time, of how did women do this when it was like, oh, it's so simple. You work from home. Of course, you could go from maternity back to that easily with the baby right next to you. No, that's a lot harder than you think. So I like having the option there of stepping away to go do the self-care you need, but also involving them too is possible. I think when we wrote a blog recently for a Mother's Day feature of how the moms at Clearlight get their self-care, and I showed this photo of me and my daughter Freya laying on our PEMF mat, and we're reading like a Little Bear story. So I'm laying there and getting probably the best of the PEMF energy, but then she's laying there too, and she's, oh, it's warm, mommy, this is nice. Look at the crystals. And she starts scratching at it. So it's, yeah, that might have to be the reality, is like I'm getting my self-care while she's right there next to me, filling a different cup. She's filling my heart's cup as I'm getting my energy restored at the same time. And that's just the reality of that Thursday.
It's so beautiful, because then that becomes almost a ritual between the two of you. That's what what I've been speaking to through the blog, and I'll be doing a piece here about my self-care as a postpartum mom on the podcast at some point. But this wellness tech, these amazing products that help us ground, they become rituals. And like you said so beautifully, that it's something that you can then do with your children, and that becomes a ritual and a moment of connection for you too. If you were to take yourself out of the home to go and take that intentional time, you're losing that part of it, of bringing them into the experience with you. And if you can't tell, I'm so excited to talk a little bit more about these products themselves, because I now have 2 wonderful Clearlight products at home to use as a postpartum mom. I have spoke about the personal red light tower, which is so fantastic. I use that for about 5 or 10 minutes before I do podcast recordings. There is something about the red light specifically that just opens my mind in a way that I don't usually get without doing it. It's so hard to explain. And I think that you would be able to speak to a little bit more of the science there, given that you are a part of the language and the experience so much deeper. But there's something about the red light that is just fantastic. It just really opens up the energy channel for me. And then now with the PEMF mat, oh my goodness, I cannot wait to really soak into the modes and what that opens up just as an incredible product and what it does. And I love amethyst. And so to see amethyst crystals all throughout that, it's so beautiful, so luxurious. And amethyst is one of my favorite crystals.
It is. Purple's my favorite color too. So, and it's great. You feel that weight too, and you're like shifting it around. You're like, oh yeah, that's all in there for sure. It's such a great combo. And let's touch on the red light first, because it's such a buzz topic right now. Everyone's putting them out, but they're not all created equal by any means too. So what's nice is that Clearlight were founded by a really incredible doctor of chiropractic. So Dr. Raleigh Duncan has this great message that I love to quote too, because he really walks what he believes, and that he's trying to heal as many people on this planet before he gets off the spinning globe. He stands behind all the products he's created and has been working these patents and these products for Clearlight for over 28 years now. So when we start with the sauna, it's now expanded to what else can we do to heal you while you're spending that time in the sauna? And all these additional products can then be added and layered on top of that to really create an entire wellness suite. So with red light, of course, that became widely known because you'll see those really intense red light masks, of course. There's the gua sha rollers that you can do. They even have those shower heads now that have red light. So red light is in everything. But at Clearlight, we really have stuck with the red light therapy towers, because we have the small personal size, which is what I have as well. The core size, which is the more medium one that goes inside your sauna door and hooks right on there, so you can layer infrared and red light therapy at the same time. And then an even taller full body tower, which is pretty intense. And a lot of our pro athletes love to get that one too, because if you get 2 of them, sandwich yourself between it, and it's like you're totally surrounded by this healing light. What's interesting about it too, and you can tell on your red light, is that you'll see half those lights look on, half of them are just look like they're off, but it's because that's how infrared works on the electromagnetic spectrum, is you can not see that wavelength to the naked human eye. So they're on, they're working. That's where you're feeling that heat. But then the red light, the extremely intense red light, is what you'll see from the LED wavelengths. That's 650 nanometers, and red light's the 850 nanometer wavelength. So you can easily go super nerdy with all of this too, but you never knew what to expect until you plug one of those in and you're blasted with that light. You're like, oh, this really is not just your average red light. You're feeling the way it totally fills up your entire room. And that's honestly what I've found when I use it around my daughter, because I first started using it on my belly after I had surgery to fix another lovely leftover gift from my changing body for post-pregnancy is I had an umbilical hernia and I had to get that repaired. So I would just sit there, put it pretty close to my belly, and the glow of the light would attract Freya. And she would come in and be like, Mommy, what is that? What are you doing? And she kind of knows, hey, this is Mommy's healing herself. This is my wound recovery, which she does like, oh, it's a boo-boo. Yeah, you're fixing your boo-boo. And it's just, she can feel the warmth on it too. And it's safe that she's not in any danger by being so close to it. Because Lord knows you can scare the heck out of your kids if you're wearing in one of those red light masks and walking around your house. It'd be like, I don't want to talk to Mommy like that. But when it's this tower, I'm like, it's a little bit more approachable and less intense.
I will say my journey with red light initially started with one of the vibrating red light wands for your face.
Yeah.
And then I upgraded to one of those red light masks. And the first time that I wore it as a postpartum mom, it was probably around month 3. I was very curious to see how my baby was going to respond. And it started smiling at me. She was like, what is that?
She's like,
and I'm like,
thank you for
"Okay."
visiting me, otherworldly creature.
You could just tell, you learn how to communicate through energy and just this bond that you have with your child. And she knew it was me, and she was so fascinated and so curious.
You're so funny.
Yeah. It was really cute. But with the red light tower, I noticed that it comes with the 2 goggles to wear with it. And that actually intimidated me. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the first time that there's goggles with red light.
You seem daunted.
Like, yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to keep the baby out of the room when I do this. And this is just going to be specifically for me, just because I don't know the science behind it. I wanted to make sure that she was protected from that while I was getting the therapy.
And it's really, exactly, it's really just for your comfort, because there even are studies out there saying that red light might potentially help with eye issues or eye health, but the jury's still out. So that's why we like to issue those just in case, just to make sure you're safe and comfortable. But really it's just the intensity. Even when we have to do photo shoots for those, sometimes it'll blow out the camera lens a little too much where you can't see anything. So we have to buy a specific film, like a gel film to put over it that you can't see, but it just kind of dims the intensity of the light because it is so strong, giving that healing.
That's amazing. Yeah. Like I said, there's definitely something to the frequency of that and what it does to me. The easiest way to say it is it opens a channel. It opens a channel where I'm able to really speak to the impact of what it is that I want to say in that recording, which is why I love to do it with the podcast itself, because I feel that auditory platforms like this are very somatic. And so when you're using tools like that, it is another layer of somatic work. And whatever we can do just to calm the mind and just open up this channel of speaking clearly, eloquently, speak to the impact of the transformation of what we're bringing, it really does unlock that for me. So it's become a very special ritual that I do in the form of creation.
100%. And there's something to be said too, because I think red light is becoming more and more commonly known for its joint and muscle relief and the skin vitality, of course, for women's health. Love to focus on that. But there's something to be said too. There are emotional well-being and sleep benefits for red light as well. So you can experience deeper sleep. You can experience more relaxation, that better sense of calm after you have that intensity. Sometimes I'll just be sitting in front of it too and just close my eyes. And the way it glows through your eyelids, it reminds me of sitting outside in the actual sunlight, but not having any of that damaging skin effects. In fact, what's helping it. So it's better. Me as a very white Irish woman, I'm like, I'm going to burn if I go out in my Las Vegas sun here. I would rather prefer to have that glow in a healthy environment.
Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other products. I know that we've already talked about, you had mentioned the sauna, which that's originally how Clearlight got started, correct? Was just through the saunas.
That's right.
And you've expanded.
That's our bread and butter.
Yeah. And then we've talked about the PEMF mat. I would love to talk a little bit about just the impacts of both of those, but then also how mothers or just really anybody listening, what they can get as far as benefits of wellness like that and then how they can build intentional self-care rituals around them.
That is a great point. And it's funny because the mat came as it's an add-on inclusion when you buy I would call it our entry-level sauna. If you have a small space like my house, I have a small house right now, and the sauna dome or curved sauna dome comes with that amethyst mat underneath it. So you can have total surrounding infrared healing benefits from the mat below, plus that pulsed electromagnetic frequency coming up. And then the dome is curving above you in these kind of two shells that kind of nest into each other, which makes it really easy for stacking it and tucking it away when you're done with it. Again, great in my small bathroom. So that is exactly what we like to do, is layer those therapies. How can you then escape when you can? This is what I'll do is I'll have my husband keep my daughter busy. I go into my bathroom and I turn on my beautiful little galaxy light. So it's very vibey, very relaxing. And I have a little sauna sesh. I only really can suffice like 25, maybe 30 minutes. Some people love to sauna a lot longer, but the whole point is listen to your body. Take the time. If you're starting to feel dizzy or sweaty beyond control, you definitely want to tone that down and get out when you're feeling like you've had enough. That's where I found my perfect blend is, Brandon, will you take care of her for a few minutes? I'm going to go have a sauna and then a shower right before bed. And I feel so rejuvenated after doing that. It's crazy because I used to say too, I was never a big sweater my whole life. I'm like, yeah, I run around. I just kind of get really internally hot. My cheeks would get super red, but I'm not sweating. Like my body wasn't properly cooling itself down. And what I've learned, and this is common now that I'm talking with all of my colleagues at Clearlight, is you can almost train your body to sweat more the more consistently you are doing that routine. And I'm becoming a better sweater. And I'll take that as a great success. So it's a really good routine. I love just listening to something. Sometimes I'll just watch a show too. If that's when I am able to pull up my tablet and finish Outlander, I'm going to do that, because then that's layering a different therapy for me, is my entertainment. And that's absolutely valid.
I love it. I love it. I did not know that about sweating, by the way. So I feel like I've learned a lot just in that moment. Now, I have a sauna blanket and I hop in that every now and then, usually more so in the colder months, but there is something to just how the body feels after a nice sweat sesh. And again, as a writer, as a speaker, my, the audio, the memos that I have recorded for myself for content and things to speak into existence, they have been magical.
So you've had all the right thoughts and you're able to collect yourself and the inspiration comes. And there's something to be said too about, like, you know, deeper sleep is one of our most highly touted benefits of infrared. For any company, anywhere in the globe, deeper sleep happens because you're able to produce that melatonin. And it's so interesting too when you start to pair that with the research that's coming out now, literally from our sauna dome at the UCSF, that it can help alleviate depression symptoms when paired with cognitive behavioral therapy as well. So the more research we get to do into sauna and sauna usage, the more benefits you can find for overall, humanity's greatest internal struggles. It's just great that it can sort out your thoughts before and after those sessions. It's a small study right now, but the implications are huge. The more we can invest in that.
I can speak to that just a lot through personal experience outside of what I've shared already since we started the conversation. I want to say around 5 months postpartum. I haven't really talked about this openly just yet, but I did experience a little bit of postpartum depression, anxiety, and what I didn't know really existed, which was postpartum OCD, which makes a lot of sense because if you deal with it before postpartum, you're going to experience it in postpartum. Fun fact for any expecting mothers out there, just fair warning.
There you go. Enjoy that.
Yeah, but it was about 5 months postpartum. I went to do a lymphatic drainage massage. It was a Brazilian lymphatic massage, and I did it after the recommended healing period or timeline for postpartum, especially after being a C-section mama. And after the lymphatic massage, they had me hop into a Clearlight sauna, by the way. And there was the red light
Amazing.
towers. I don't know if it was the red light towers on the inside. I do believe that there was two, one on each side of the door. And then there was the light changer that changed from red light to blue light. And then I think one of the other lights. And I think about this experience so much because not only was the massage just incredible and it was able to move so much just fluids that are in your body, especially in postpartum, because it does take some time for your body really to regulate hormonally, but then in every other part of your body. But then to get into the sauna and just sweat and then sit in the red light and there was music going, it was just this full experience that I felt that my postpartum experience changed drastically after that moment. Now, I've been blessed to have a lot of rituals and self care moments at home to add to that. But again, speaking to just the benefits of sauna and sweating and just really giving the body just so much love and care, it really can help make some of the other experiences, especially during postpartum, so much easier.
Yeah. It's so true. And honestly, that experience, I'm sure you're not alone in that too. It's amazing you could feel all of that too from your first intro session with that too. But there's something to be said about the lymphatic drainage massage, which I have been wanting to try. So I think you might have sold me there. Plus the chromotherapy, that's what the light changing was up top that you're experiencing. And each color has its own powers and vibes and healing properties. Not to mention the red light and probably the glow. I think you had 2 infrared heaters right on the front door there too. The glow from those heaters and the infrared energy just pouring into you. Plus, you're having this moment of retrospection, organizing your thoughts, which then is organizing your anxiety and your PPOCD a little bit as well. It gives you that moment of peace where you feel very in your body and thus less in your head in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't tell you. It was already towards, I really feel that for my timeline with postpartum, it was inching closer to the 6-month postpartum mark where I felt way more connected to myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. All of it really started to come together and connect again. And given that I had that experience closer to about the 6-month postpartum month, who's to say if it wasn't for all of those things in that moment that really helped inch me closer to feeling more connected in my body again. Or maybe it just aligned perfectly to have it in that moment closer to the 6-month period. And it bridged in a way. I think that's where I'm kind of losing a little bit of track of what I'm trying to say, but it really did feel like a bridge between the two. And then being able to come home and keep some of those practices going, especially with the red light in our bedroom, that has helped a lot as well, just to keep that moment of elevation. Because I think also when we feel a shift in our mental space and emotional space, when we lean on the tools that help us get back to that, you're reawakening it again. And I think that is, again, why I say it's almost like somatic work, is because you're reminding your body how it felt in certain moments. And you're like, yes, I can reclaim that again for me in this moment, thanks to X, Y, and Z ritual.
100%. And I appreciate you sharing that journey too, because I also experienced at least the postpartum anxiety portion of that. And then at a certain point, when you find the right tool set, for me, my therapist suggested I just get back to those activities for myself, rediscovering my hobbies and things like that. And whether it's correlation or causation at that point, does it matter? Does it matter what helped? The fact is that you got helped with the perfect mix of the perfect day, therapies, mindset, that you felt that path forward. And that's what we want all women, all people, to be able to find and discover for themselves. So whatever kind of tool set you need to use to do that, it's valid. And as long as you're not getting in your own way or hurting anybody, I'd say it doesn't matter. Find that right method and rediscover what that right recipe of self-care is to make it through.
Yes, everyone deserves it. Everyone deserves that. And it's thanks to brands like Clearlight who have been able to innovate in that way to make it way more accessible for people. It kind of shifts me perfectly into talking maybe more about the trajectory of Clearlight as a whole. I had done a lot of digging on your social media, and I noticed that you are global. Am I correct?
We are, yes. We have many different dealers and partners across the entire world.
That's amazing. I love the founder's mission about how he just really wants to change as many people's lives while he has this opportunity in his life path. And I feel that we speak a lot to founders and the founder's experience and why the subject matter experts that I highlight, why they do what they do. And it really speaks to the common through line that everybody wants to do soul work in full service of other people. So I really love your founder's mission and taking the brand and the innovation global. I feel that is one of the ways to really call that into existence. So if you can talk a little bit about the trajectory of Clearlight and maybe what's to come with the brand as a whole.
Is a great topic. We have so many things going on. My days are busy. My weeks are filled. The global expansion continues to happen. We have some great partners in many different countries. You can find them all at infraredsauna.com. And it's so interesting that we can see the wellness trends and what other countries and cultures are prioritizing, and it's not the same everywhere. So trying to personalize that to whatever is really popular or what they need to know in Germany versus what our new Japanese market is interested in seeing. And even logistics of like space saving versus Australia, where they really love the outdoor models. And then any kind of like Nordic countries where it's all social wellness. And that's really hitting hard in America right now too, is we have our new sanctuary studio model, which is huge. It's 9 feet by 9 feet, I think. And it's really great for those businesses that are trying to tap into the social wellness trend, which I think is great and totally aligns with our conversation too, for like moms getting together, or even moms and dads getting together in a spot where you can all get into the same sauna cabin and experience that heat together is becoming more and more popular. So that's a great new product and alignment we have with where the industry is going. We also just launched the Clearlight Plunge, which is great because it's not a super freezing, icy plunge. If you want that, you obviously can use it as the coldest. I think 36 is the bottom of how cold you can get it, but it can go up to 104 because there's a lot of research out there too of what that means for women's health specifically. Do women reap the same benefits from the extreme cold? Not necessarily. That's what we're seeing in a lot of the research too. So having something that has that temperature range as people are trying to create their own wellness protocol, their wellness routine of sauna for 20 to 30 minutes, get in the plunge for 2 to 3 at whatever temperature is right for you, and then back in for 5 more minutes of sauna to warm up before carrying on your day is where we're leading. Because infrared saunas, while yes, the education is still needed for the average consumer of like, why is this different from traditional saunas? People are starting to understand that, plus the red light therapy more and more. So they're trying to build the menu, the routine, and what that looks like for them, for their wellness goals. So we're trying to focus on that a lot to say, here's the Clearlight wider wellness suite and what that means. And it's customizable. It's depending on what you're trying to get out of your solo self-care time, or your time with your family, or your time with the huge group that you're going to meet up at the spa down the street, whatever that might be. We want to be there providing that healing with the best and safest technology that we know can be made.
I love that. And it feels very aligned. I'm starting to see a lot, especially here in Southern California, those retreat spaces. I know that there is one specifically that I've been following online in the LA area. I can't remember the name of the place, but it's basically this whole immersive experience where every single room has something to do. And I believe that there's like salt rooms with Himalayan salt, and then you've got yoga, and then you've got the baths or whatever it is. And so it's really fun to see that, like you said, there's community spaces that are now tapping into that immersive wellness experience for people. And we can do it not only for ourselves, but we can do it in community with one another, which I feel if you're building community or wanting to find like-minded people, what is the best way, or where is the best place to find that than an immersive wellness place?
Exactly. And there's so many different breeds of that company as well. Like we have those sanctuary saunas. There's two of them that are going to be at the soon to open Heroic Athletic Club in San Diego. And they, I think, have a big focus on like fitness, but also like business networking at the same time. But then we also have a partner in New York City, Cove Sauna Studio, where they have some of our Sanctuary Cs, which are cool, like corner units, but they've placed it in a way where you're like bobbing and weaving through the entire studio. But they also have cold plunges and red light therapy, the Hyperice Normatec boots. So it's like, and that's for the busy young entrepreneur that's going through, but also some like girl time. It's great to see these different spots popping up in every kind of location that's like retail. Hospitality is huge right now. And then not to mention even like sports and professional athlete teams and Olympians that are also trying to just have peak performance and recovery where we can fulfill that as well. So it's for comfortable little grandma. It's for the young professional. It's for the pro NFL star, the celebrities we get. It's really exciting to see that this kind of healing is of interest to every kind of person.
It really truly makes wellness accessible. And I feel that really is the goal. Wellness should be accessible for everyone and accessible in a way where it really fits their rituals and it fits their lifestyle. I love that you have options that support even different spaces. One of the things that we're calling in is hopefully, being able to move into a bigger house. And I have this on my manifestation board that I will have a Clearlight sauna in our backyard or wherever we plan to make our dedicated wellness place.
Dreams do come true, Ashley.
They truly do. They truly do. And I will say, I believe in manifestation here. If I haven't spoken that enough on the podcast, I actually haven't. I probably should. But like I said, just being able to see the brand out and about has just been amazing. But then also being in connection with the team at Clearlight, it's just amazing to see how the brand has become a part of my everyday orbit in so many different ways. Even just watching a TV show and hearing about Clearlight and being like, oh my goodness, I'm connected
Isn't that
with
funny?
them. It's just so amazing how it all comes together.
I get astounded too and starstruck because I was definitely watching Selling Sunset, Selling OC or something like that. And they were like, hey, I think this is a Clearlight. And when that happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, the company has absolutely already made it. That's why we're featured in these houses. But it's like the brand equity of a Kleenex. It's not just an infrared sauna. That's a Clearlight. And I love seeing that come to reality. It's an honor to even be part of the team that gets to offer this high quality, safe healing that is leading the game.
Absolutely. That's actually one of the things that I feel the conversation needs is what are some of the joys that you've been able to experience being in the position that you're in? Because this is essentially a marketing and PR podcast. I come from the marketing and PR background, and so I always like to dedicate some special time just to the amazing things that can happen being in marketing and PR. So tell us a little bit about your lens and your experience, and what are some of the amazing things that you've been able to be a part of given the role that you're in?
Yes, we have done so much in the past few years, one of which, too, I'm happy we launched the Sapling program with the National Forest Foundation. So now we set up a program so every sauna that is sold, we're going to plant 2 trees for areas in need. So that is an awesome one. I think we've done we just reached the 30,000 trees mark, which is great because we only installed that maybe about 3 years ago. And now we've also finalized a way to offer this healing to people that need it most, including our firefighters and first responders, because there's something to be said about the amount of toxicity levels that they're exposed to, that they need this healing as they serve our communities the most. So they're able to claim 10% discounts with ID Me on our website. But then we've also had some great partners for the actual fire departments if they wanted to install saunas in the stations. We've seen that done. And it's amazing how much red tape that you sometimes have to go through because taxpayers are like, who's paying for the electricity of these things? And we've seen the solutions work for any kind of station too. So whether or not they're all chipping in to buy one together out of their own pocket because they know it can save their own lives as they're saving others. It's wild that it has to come to that, but I think it should be something that is, installed de facto in the future for all people that are putting their lives on the line to get the healing they need in return. So we're really happy to have that, but it also extends to like teachers and nurse professionals and things like that too. So we're trying to make sure it's accessible to people that are giving to their communities, and Clearlight's there to give back to them.
It's amazing. Again, I just feel that is the mission through line for Clearlight, and it really stems off from your founder's mission. And that is what I feel makes an incredible brand and a business, is that the founder is so clear on what their mission is, and every single moving part is fully in support of that mission. So I'm over here giving a big, loud applause to everything that you're doing, because again, it really echoes that mission and the soul of the work.
I feel it. And it's great once there's a company that walks the talk and where we put together the mission, vision statements, but it actually means something to us. We're trying to actually share this with the world, make sure that the technologies that Dr. Raleigh patented are available to as many people as possible, so we can actually share the innovation and the way he's designed the heaters, where it cancels out the EMF and ELF and makes it safer for everybody. Because there's plenty of those saunas you can get at your local Costco, but it's not going to have the same support, the same safe technology, the same quality craftsman woodmanship. Of course, I know all the branding and marketing speak, but it's also reality. And that's why we want to tout those things to the world, to make sure people are getting the best thing that they deserve.
Yes. And one of the things that I'll say also, because I don't want to lose it, but it really means something when you can feel the excitement from the people who work behind a brand or work behind the business. I've had a few touching points with your PR director, Miss Dana, and you can just tell the excitement that she is just to expand the love and awareness around Clearlight. I have felt it in every single communication that I've had with her. And then being able to meet with you one-on-one and our authentic, vulnerable, and soul conversation that we had to talk about the podcast. And then now what we've been able to call in here as well. You can tell a lot about the people who support the business and the brand because of how they feel supported and just the genuine excitement that they have for their work.
Exactly. We are the evangelists. We believe what we're doing here.
Absolutely. And it's been an honor to be able to partner with you all in so many ways that we've been able to collaborate together. And I'm so excited to have this conversation on the podcast because, again, it really speaks to my lens and how I believe that wellness like this really does work, especially if you're going through such a big identity shift like motherhood in the postpartum season. But then there's just so many other added benefits, like I said, to the health part, mindset part, emotional health, all of it. And you have a lifelong supporter over here, just so you know.
I love to hear it. And thank you for having me, Ashley. I do think these conversations are important. I think it's great that mothers know that they're not alone, that everything they feel is normal, that there's ways past it. And there's also technologies and people rooting for you from behind brands like Clearlight that are saying, it does get better. We're here for you. Find that peace and on to the next generation. Show them what self-care and self-love can do. So thank you again for having me.
Yes, of course. I will allow us one more question just because I like to create some dedicated space. How can everyone listening connect with you? But then also, how can you share more about just Clearlight and all of the added benefits that maybe we didn't talk about?
Absolutely.
Today?
Please, everybody, go visit my brand new website that we just launched. It has been a long time in the making at infraredsauna.com. That's infrared, F-R-A, sauna.com. It's really exciting because seriously, I have been working on that for a long time with our team too. So we're super proud to showcase that, and find us on Instagram at Clearlight Saunas.